All right, so I'll be mostly going over particle systems and how they work. First of all, like instead of just going through exact animations and how exactly you can make them, I'll show you why use particle systems at all. So this is like I have two sample projects. One is like a bit advanced. This one's the advanced one, and the other one's basic. I'll just show a few cool things. I'll show what particle systems can do, and then I'll tell you what particle system is. Then I'll see if I have enough time to do something from scratch. We'll also try to go over animators and how we can animate from scratch and things like that. So here I have like this sample project. So never mind those white squares. Um, we have this little fire animation. So everything that you see right now is purely Unity's particle system, nothing else. Like all of these particles like you see and those square particles things, I have this post processing. Post processing will is like an advanced topic, so it just makes things look cooler. But uh, yeah, that's it. Like you can see how it makes things look better. So we have fire here. I have these what do you call them? Fire firebugs, fireflies. So again with fireflies we have this post processing. So we can see a bit of difference. Like some of the light fuses with the background. So post processing gives you some of the backgrounds and volumes and like foggy stuff. So like this makes the stuff look cool. And finally, I have some kind of lightning. I don't know. It's not like very accurate, and but it looks good enough for something that's only made out of particle system. There are other better methods maybe to make lightning. Again, same with the post processing. Um, so, uh, what is particle system? So, this particle system is basically a module that you can add to any object, or like you can instantiate. So, let's say I want to make a particle system. I'll just right click in the hierarchy, go into effects, and make a particle system, and it gives me this little particle system. From here, you can get to any of these. So all of the three things that I showed you use the same particle system and changing some stuff around those. So I'll show you a few changes that I did for the lightning things. So for example, we have lightning here. I'll just change a few things. I'll not go over exactly what I'll go over what they mean and not go over exactly all of these because you can see they have tons of things. So each of these squares have their own components to go over, and it's like a huge thing. You can do huge amount of stuff with particle systems. You can obviously, if you can make lightning, you can go with making rain and explosions, fireworks, whatever you can imagine that has like some bunch of particles. Waterfall, the bubbles of waterfall, anything basically. So
Excuse me.
yeah,
Could you zoom in a bit? It's very hard to read.
uh, okay, this part right. I'll see. Anshuman, can you remind me how to zoom in?
use the magnifier now, Windows का magnifier itself.
Okay, if that's comfortable with you all, I'll use that. Okay, it's like this, yeah.
हाँ.
Okay, is it readable?
Yeah.
So, I'll, so right now we have this lightning. So what it's doing is it has, so each of this particle of the lightning is a single particle that's going and it leaves a trail. And the trail is has some lighting effects. So first of all, why is the particle moving in such random directions? So we have something called noise. So I have this noise that makes it move in random directions. You don't need to know all of these. I'm just showing what the particle system is capable of. So I'll zoom out first. How do you zoom out? Uh, I'll just close this. Yeah. Um, so for now we have just lightning that's raining down. If I increase the strength of this noise, increases the intensity of those lightning, as you can see. If I keep increasing it and I have some bigger frequency, so you see with like simple changes how effective it looks. Um, yeah, I'll maximize it for you to see better. So now it looks like some kind of lightning that you would see inside the thunderclouds instead of coming down to the ground. Um, so this was some complex things, some things that you guys can try out on yourself, um, and more of how things works. So we have some particles that go in waves. Then we have spirals. So all of this is a single particle system that has different types of properties and different types of initial conditions to do things. Sine wave is like pretty apparent too, because if it can do spirals, it can do waves. And we have something called random that goes into random directions. A nice explosion, maybe some coin effects that you want in your game, maybe some uh, anything that you like. Um, See, the same thing for item pickup. So when you pick up an item, you can give this effect in your background to show that the coin's been picked, like the item's been picked up. And obviously fireworks, because why not? And explosions, as I said. So when maybe when enemies die or when you leave exploding bullets, something like those, you can have a particle going in circle. This is a variation of how the sine wave works. It's basic maths. I think you guys studied how SHM works and how circles and sine waves are related, kind of like those. If you want, I'll go over how exactly you can convert a circle into a spiral. And we have a tornado kind of effect. Cool. So um, I'll explain. Let's see. One of these, right? I'll try to explain explosion. If you guys want me to explain anything specific, I'll go over that. But I'll try to keep it like as simple as possible for now. You guys can check this out on your own, because it's a huge complex system that even I learn a few things every day. So when you make a particle system, you go to effects and start a particle system. You get something like this. Um, if you cannot read this, it's fine for now. Hmm, there should be a way to zoom this, right? Anyways, so we have this. I'll disable all the other things. So the main thing that we have is visible. So when you instantiate a particle system, you get this set of particles that keep going in a random. This is actually a 3D cone, but like in 2D, it looks like a triangle. Um, so starting off the beginning, you have some basic things like how long the particle is gonna stay, if it's gonna loop, if it's gonna start after some time, how long it's gonna stay, like how long each particle is gonna stay, and this is how long the entire effect's gonna stay. Some initial variables like start speed, start size, start rotation, um, start color. So we have a color of white. So let's say I want a random between two colors. So Okay, here. Magnifier is a bit difficult to use. Yeah, so I have white. Let's say I convert it to red. So you see, I'm get all these particles are random between white and red. So it has some shades of white and both. Let's say the second one I want it to be blue. So you already have nice little effect of colors going on. Um, Next, as you saw for explosions, like the particles go up and then come down with gravity, right? So you have a gravity modifier of if the gravity is affecting the particles and how much, and some other things that. Okay, as I said, I'll not be going over each one of these. These are huge and too much. So emission rate is how many particles it emits over every second. So you can increase this to have more particles per second. Um, or you can add something like bursts of particles. So 30 count, yeah, so bursts. So every you set it to zero, it sets it gives out 30 particles every point one second. Or if I change it to something like 0.5 seconds or 1 second. So for explosion, we'll require something called right burst, right? So we start an explosion, it gives out some explosion and then stops. So we want it to stop, so we will set the maximum duration to some lower period. That happened because I was changing while I don't want it to loop because I just wanted to run once. Cool. Now, the emission we have shape. So you might be seeing that it emits in a cone every time. I wanted to emit like in a spherical shape. So yeah, and there you go. It's as simple as that. You have a oh god, you have a nice explosion. Yeah, you can change a lot of things. Uh, if you are confused, like if you want are very curious about how any of these things that I showed you work, I'll go over those. But that's the basic of what particle system is capable of and what you can do with it and where you can use it basically. If you have any questions or like anything you want me to repeat or tell you in detail.
Are all these effects already there, or did you create the like make the effects yourself?
So as I said, like when you start Unity, I just created like an explosion effect right in front of you, right? So
Yeah.
that's how each one of these are. So each one of this is a individual particle system. So like let's say I click on this, it's a particle system, and that's it.
Oh, you've just renamed it yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
So you once you create a particle system, you go along how you wanna modify it, and these are the kind of modifications that you can do. I think there
okay.
was also something called a rain.
So all of these you've only made like yourself using particle system.
Yes. Yeah, there's also something called collisions. You can collide with objects like you want rain to repel off the ground. It does not have to be just blobs. You can set it to some specific textures, like you want some raindrop to look like a teardrop. Anything you want, basically. I've seen like entire games made out of particle systems, so it's a anytime you think like I want a cool effect, I want an explosion, I want a firework that's going on, um, or you want like some fire just going around like some campfire, or you have like a rocket lit and you want the lit part of the rocket to fire up and then go something like those. And obviously visuals, so games are obviously about a lot of visuals. So if you don't have, you need some kind of explosions, you need some kind of colors and coin pickups coin pickups. So yeah, would anyone of you like to tell me what changes can I make to the particle system that I made right now to make it into a coin pickup, item pickup, I mean. I made it go
Change
on.
the color and change the shape.
Uh, we don't have a shape right now. The shape is just a circle kind of thing. So look at this again. So yeah, obviously I'll change the colors first. So let's say we go for
Gravity and change the color.
what do you say? I couldn't hear you.
Uh, take gravity modifier as one, or apply it as one because it is going down.
Okay, we'll go gravity one, going down. So again, new thing. So you'll see these little trails coming off. This thing called trails. Just enable trails, and now you have trails, which look terrible. Um, how to render a trail renderer. Trail material to be set to, let's say, default line. So everything that on your screen renders, right? So we already have a default particle system. I'll set this to mm, yeah, this looks good enough for me. Um, I'll reduce the size maybe. So we have a restart size, and let's say I reduce all of this to at least half of them. Looks more like an explosion now, or like a firework. But still, this is good enough. We can reduce the emission to have less numbers. See, and you get something close. You'll have to tweak and fine tune some effects to get the exact same thing. Let's see a bit of difference, and you get go from an explosion to an item pickup sort of thing. Change the lifetime, I think. Yeah. So another thing we have is things over lifetime. So velocity over lifetime, you can change the velocity as the lifetime goes on. Like you can make it reduce velocity and eventually stop, or like increase velocity and eventually go out of the screen. Size over lifetime, you can decrease the size eventually um, as an axis. So you want the size to decrease eventually and then disappear. So yeah, it's a cool. Anything you wanna ask now? Anything that you think that you will not be able to understand on your own? Because I would like I would encourage you to go and explore the particle system on your own, or like watch a few VFX videos and try to recreate any of the things that I made right now, or in these the fireflies effect or the lightning effects or the fire effects. Oh, there we have a new project. So new project. First things, I like to go to the camera and set it to black because I like the backgrounds black. Um, so for an animation, can someone tell me what we need? Like from whatever you have learned, what is the first thing that we need on the
First,
screen?
we have to create a object of animation by.
Right. So we create a for 2D we call it a 2D objects called sprite. So let's say we'll call it shape. So but the object is not visible on the screen. So how do I make it visible?
Change the color.
The color is white. What do you want me to change it to? All right. So sprites basically are something that are like a frame. You need to give the photo or like a something to the frame for it to display. So I'm not sure. Is this readable like the menu that just showed up?
Yeah.
So you click on your assets things and you go to create, and you'll see you'll have an option to create some sprites. So you can create all these things, or you can just import a random image like a PNG or JPG and then put that into thing. So let's say I'll create a diamond shape. The shape is basically a image kind of thing. So now in the shape thing, we have like a sprite part is empty. So we tell that we want the sprite to look like a diamond. Any issues up till this part? Cool. Now that we have a diamond visible, I want to start, I want to animate it. So I'll go over some simple animations like things like how to make something move or stretch or change color over time, or change color like blink, keep blinking, keep rotating. You must have seen those coins in those 2D platformers that rotate at their own locations, right? And something like that. So on this shape object, I go to add component and I add this component called animator. So now this animator will control how this object changes, how this photo changes on this frame. Um, so this is supposed to control, but we don't as like a developer, as like the from the backend, we don't have anything to change it. So we'll add something. We'll add a animator controller by ourselves. So we'll call it shape underscore controller. I might have spelled controller wrong, but okay. Oh, no, I spelled it wrong. So, and then you put it in the controller part. So now we have a uh, module that will control the image, and we have something to change it. When you double click on it, you will get this animator panel. You can put it anywhere you like. Um, I drag it between two windows. It's a I like to do it like that. So right now, when you open it, you'll see just three of these draggable squares. One's the entry, one's any state, and one's exit state. So uh, animator is basically like it has states. So these are all called states. So I'll add an animation and then you'll understand what I'm doing. So we go to create again and we go to right next to animator controller, we'll have an animation. We'll call it diamond enlarge. And I drag it to this panel that showed up when I double clicked on shape controller. Double click on shape controller, this shows up and I dragged diamond enlarge to it and it already has this connection. So it tells me that when when the object is visible on the screen, that means it has entered the screen. It goes to diamond enlarge. So this is the first thing that it will do. Now, what is diamond enlarge? We haven't told it. So when you click on diamond enlarge, you'll get a animation panel. This is where you tell your um, controller what the animation is supposed to change in the object. Okay, so there are a few things. First of all, we have a sprite with a shape there. We have a animator module in the sprite component. Then we have a shape controller in our assets, and we have a animation in our assets. We also have the shape controller linked to the animator. So we know that this shape controller is changing because I can create multiple of those and then keep changing according to what shape controller I want to change to. So, and when you double click on shape controller, you get this state kind of things where you can tell Unity what animation you want to do. And when you click on a animation, you get this panel where you can animate things. So how do you animate? When you click on your shape, you'll see that this panel, you'll see that in animation, you can select the animations. In animation panel, you can select the animations that are already present in your animator. And using similar terms, it has a lot of similar terms. If you are confused, you can stop me and ask. Okay. So what properties do I want to change? I want to change its in transform. I want to change its scale. I added scale to it. So now a cool thing. Um, when I tell it to record, so this is the record button. It will record any changes I do to this sprite. You see that this thing has become red. That means this is being recorded. So I'll scale it to become, so at 0 0 at 0th second, I want it to stay at the same shape. Let's say at 0.2 seconds, I want the shape to become 2 times in length. By 0.4 seconds, I want the, I said it 2 times. And by 0.4 seconds, I want the shape to become 2 times in width. And by 1 second, I want it back at 1. Cool. So this thing, and I stop the recording, and let's see what happens when you play it. So yeah, it's repeating the 1 second thing that I told it to do, as this 0 to 1 second. And I told it to first change it along x-axis, then along y-axis, and then shrink back to its original size. So you can do this thing with basically like when you want to change, animate your 2D sprites or like even 3D models, you use something like this. So Unity has this thing where you put in the keyframes. What I did was at 0.2 seconds, I told it the keyframe was this. And between 0 to 0.2, it extrapolates. So what you see, like it does not automatically from 0 to 0.2 seconds, it does not just become that size. What happened? Yeah. It does not just arbitrarily, no, suddenly become that size. It extrapolates between that size. So it expands slowly and then expands along the other side and then shrinks. So this is one animation. Let's say I want to create another one. I think we are running out of time, so I'll just create another one and then we'll stop. Animation, and I wanted to say diamond color. And we drag this to this area. And now you'll see that it does not automatically start. So I was explaining the states, how the states works. From entry, you have a transition that tells you to go to diamond enlarge animation. So we can also do something like go from any state to diamond enlarge, and from diamond enlarge go to diamond color, then from diamond color go back to enlarge. And now we can set conditions on these states. So yeah, a set of conditions here where I'll define the condition for like a bool, like change bool. I'll tell it key whenever it is the change bool is true, go to diamond color. If the change bool is false, go back to diamond enlarge. And now I play it. The first thing that you might have noticed that when I play, it stops at one loop. So I wanted to keep looping. Um, yeah, so it keeps looping on this same thing. When I change it to change bool, it goes to this and then does nothing and then stops there. I change it back, it comes back to this state. We did not set anything for color, so let's do that quickly. Click on this, we go to color, and now we'll just record. And in the sprite, we have an option to just at 00, at let's say 30 seconds, I want the color to become red, and then at 1 second, I want it to become white again. So you can see that it becomes red and then goes back to white in half intervals. So now, finally, when it comes together, we play. It's from entry, you see that it already is in diamond enlarge shape, though the diamond enlarge animation runs. When we click on change bool, after the diamond enlarge animation, it goes to, okay, we did not set it on loop. The diamond color we want it to loop. We click on animation, click on loop time again. So diamond enlarge is running. When I click on change bool, you can change these through script. Yeah, you can change these through script. Like you can go on our Unity forums and see how you can reference animators and their parameters through script. You click on change bool, and it starts changing color in the game view too. So when change bool is active, it's gonna change colors, and when change bool is not active, it's gonna change shapes. Yeah, like that's the extreme basics of how animations, animator controllers, and particle effects, and how to make your game look better, kind of.
How
When you start, yeah, go on.
how would you change both at the same time?
So, sure, like, so in your diamond enlarge animation, let's say you want to change a bunch of more things. You want it to at let's say 25 seconds, you want it to rotate by, will not rotate by, we will rotate down Z. You rotate, and let's say you want it to change color to blue by 25th second, and we'll stop recording and then run it. You see, it depends on what keyframes you set. So whatever keyframes you set, it changes those properties. So
Okay,
these are
but
the
then,
only, yeah, go on.
so you can't use like diamond enlarge and diamond color won't be at the same time. Like you can.
No, that's the point of having two different shapes. So let's say you have a platformer and you have two animations called run and jump. So you want them to be separated by states. So the running and jumping are two different states. States, you can't do them at the same time. But if you
Okay.
want something to be done at the same time, you can put them all in the same animation. Like
Okay.